Hi everyone, I am Kirkland Smith. This is my little helper, Kirkland Smith, my son. I want to welcome you to Art Time with Kirkland Smith. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode, Art Time with Kirkland Smith, and
Kirkland Smith.
today we want to look at landscape study, or we're going to attempt to draw a landscape. So you can draw the landscape using your pencils. Most people use pencil. You can use pen, so it doesn't matter what you have around the house. So here we have a landscape drawing using black pen. So we have another one here using a blue pen, a red pen, and pencil. So our landscape, you can draw it using any medium, crayon, color pencil, and these are some nice examples here. But before we get started with this, we want to practice how to draw mountains or hills, trees, clouds, and grass, because these are the main different components or objects that we'll find in our landscape study. So when you're drawing mountains are like triangles. So you draw the triangles together to get the effect of solidness in the mountains. Normally they have the ridge, the shape of the mountains, and when you shade, so one side would go in this direction, the other side you can shade in the opposite direction. It makes it look solid, it makes it look real. So that's how we shade it. Or you can just keep it flat like that, that's fine. That's how we draw mountains or how we draw hills. Same ideas, or rocks, same idea. Alright, now we need to know how to draw trees. We can do two different types of trees. So the first type is our, so you can use scribble lines. We use scribble lines for the shape of the tree. We do random, don't be too neat. And then when we do the trunk is solid, wider at the bottom, not too wide, and thinner at the top. First kind of tree, like if you want to draw like a mango tree, or a breadfruit tree, or a mahogany tree, same concept. And if you want to draw like a pine tree that you normally find in the pine ridges, in the country, pine ridge, you can do it two ways. You can start with a triangle because it has a triangular shape, looks like a cone, and then we use scribble lines and we give the shape as we go down, so that we get wider and wider. So we have pretty much a pine tree. Or we can go straight to the shape. We already know that naturally this will go wider and wider as we go to the bottom. Scribble lines we're using. Scribble lines, and there we have our pine tree or Christmas tree. Alright, so that's drawing mountains, that's drawing trees. How about clouds? We draw clouds using, it has to look puffy. See that? Give it a little puffiness to it. Or in some cases, we draw puffy at the back, on top, and then we go a straight line at the bottom. Or we could start with a straight line, we go up, and then we come down. Because sometimes when you look in the sky, the clouds tend to be set on the sky because gravity is pulling down. So sometimes you don't see the puffiness underneath. So that's two ways of drawing clouds. And then our grass. Grass is just like here, or fur. We use a combination of lines going to the right and lines going to the left. And when we combine them, we get the effect of grass. So we draw these lines. This drawing technique is actually called crisscross lines, and you get that effect of grass. which is good. You can use that. Some people go like this and they go like that to bring down some grass. That is okay. So you can use any of the two will work. Alright, so we have grass. Alright, so we have our mountains, we practice it. We have our trees, our clouds, and we have the grass. Now from here, we can go and attempt our landscape. So now let's get started with our landscape study. So the first thing I want to do, I think I want to do this image here, because this image has what? Lampposts and trees to get that effect. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to draw my horizontal line. You can use a ruler, try to be as straight as you can, that's alright. This horizontal line that separates the sky from the land, we call it the horizon. And that is where everything will converge to. So now when I'm finished with that, then I'm going to draw my road coming down. The road doesn't have to be perfect, but it's triangle, because when you're looking down the street, it's a parallel, they have an equal width along the road. However, once you're standing, you're looking down the highway, everything seems to get smaller and smaller, it seems to shrink. So that effect, that is perspective, the illusion of depth. So what we want to do, and then we want to draw our lamppost, we start small, because perspective tells us that the objects that are far away from us will appear small, and the objects that are closer to us will appear normal size or large. So as they go farther and farther away, they'll appear smaller and smaller. So I draw my lamppost first, very small, and I use my edges to keep it vertical, because then so you might tend to want to lean it. I'm using my pen. Now if I make any mistake when I'm drawing, I won't care, because then it becomes a part of the artwork. So perspective tells us too that objects that as they come closer to us, you can see more details in these objects. So I put my lamppost, classic lamppost. I put my electric wire somewhere from outside the picture frame. So these join together, and already you can see the effect of what? You see perspective. Alright, cool, that's my lamppost. And then on the right side, then I put some trees. Let me put, maybe there are some berries tree along the line. So I start small first, and as I get closer and closer, they look bigger. Please remember, I use the edge to keep it vertical. And then as they come closer, they get larger, using scribble lines to draw those trees. To draw my trees, I'm using scribble lines, and you notice the chunks are wider, more detail. And then the one closest to us is the largest one. That's perspective, creating that illusion or that effect of depth, 3D on a flat surface. The paper that we're using could add more and more and more, add more. And see, we have our set up here, a nice landscape study. Maybe I want to put a little pine tree here, small one in the distance, and a bigger one here. I get a bit closer, get larger, and I got larger in the pine tree, more detail. It's triangular, and then the one here now, it's even make that bigger. So if I want to make it solid, I could use my marker. My road, Akaduli Mountains. Right, so then we have our clouds, puffiness, give it puffy, and I want to show some birds flying in the distance. Dope, dope, dope. So we have our nice landscape study here. Alright, so you can go ahead and do that. You can add color to it. You can leave it in black and white. You can shade it with your pencil. So however you want to do it, then you get your effect. You have a nice landscape study. So you can follow that. And there you have it. Thank you for being with us today for this episode of Art Time with Kirkland Smith and
Kirkland Smith.
So for now, we want to say goodbye.
Goodbye.